I'm going to show how to implement GraphQL in iOS applications. Before we going to implement iOS, let's set up a local server in PC using this GraphQL. You can see I have opened the graphql.org. They provide a basic functionality step by step how to implement and set up a GraphQL server. Hello, my name is Anish Malik. Welcome to Gyan Laboratory, where knowledge is everything. Let's begin. You can see I have created a demo GraphQL server in its desktop. What we need to do, we need to install this package in a terminal. If you face any error or installing the package, you need to just install the Nodejs package in your Mac. Open the terminal, go to the folder, copy the package command and install it. You can see it will install a latest node module in this folder. Now what we need to do, we need to create a server. They provided this method where we need to just copy this whole code and paste it over here and name it as server.js. I'm not much familiar about GraphQL, but we know that in future we get any requirement to implement a GraphQL in iOS application. This will help you out. We will follow the Apollo client in iOS application to set up the GraphQL server. Now let's check whether the server is working or not. They have shown that to start a server, we need to just do node server.js. You can see the GraphQL server is started. To check whether it is working or not, just open it in a browser. It is working. Now to test whether the query has been working or not, just write it down hello and run the command. You will see it give the result hello world. It is because they already written this in a query. They define the method with the data types which return the string. Now as we know that I don't have any database, so I'm going to define a dataset over here. Let's define employee dataset, where it will be ID 1, name Anish Malik, designation I'll write it down software engineer, company, there is the company, so I write self. Let copy and paste and make it 2 or 3 records. To Michael Lucas, mechanical I just write it down anything. It's not necessary to create write perfect records. Charles Bidwell, programmer, let it be Microsoft. So we have already created the datasets. Let's start working with the query. Make sure whatever query we write within the type query scope. So first we fetch all the data. So get employee list, emp list. It will return a array. Now here I have shown that when we use the employee list, it will return the array of employee. From where this employee come? Let's define that employee. It will return id in form of integer, name in form of string, designation in form of string, company in form of string. Now let's root this emp list over here. Before routing this emp list, let's create a function that will return a data set. Get emp list, return employee dataset. Now root it. Emp list with function. Now check whether this query is working or not. I don't know, just doing things better way. Server dot JSON. Okay, it's working. Let's refresh this. Okay. Now to implement a query, get emp list. It doesn't matter what you define, just write it or anything. Within this we get this employee list, and what it should return? id, name, designation and company. Okay, it is fetching all the result. So just copy this and save it somewhere, because we need this query to be implemented in iOS applications. Save it as a query. Now let's do another fetch filter query. Filter emp list. We need to pass an id within it, and it will return a employee, means employee. Now just make a function and fix and set in a root. Filter emp list function arguments, let id equal to argument.id, and it will return employee data set dot filter emp return emp.id equal to id, and what it will return? The filter result. Let's hook it out. Let both same, just make different, little different here. Filter employee list with filter employee. Okay, there is some error inside. What is the error? find out what the error is. Okay, let's see what the error is. Actually, I'm just searching out the error, but it was a minor issue. I was doing it. Minor bug is that I was not passing the data types over here. If you do, you can see it gets started. Now refresh this. As we know that we already saved this query over here. Now just do filter the employee list. Here we will pass an ID in form of integer, and whatever function we define within the code, just do it over here. Pass the parameter ID. It will return ID, name, company, and designations. To run this query, what we need to do, we need to write the parameter within the query variable. Pass it ID as 1. You can see it filter the employee datasets. Whatever ID I pass, it will filter and show it over here. So you copy this query and save it over here, so we can use further in iOS applications. Now let's create updations. This is a query. This query we need to write within a query type. For updations, addition, we need to write within the mutations. Update emp list, where we need to pass an ID in form of integer, name in form of string, designation in form of string, and last company in form of string. Let's also create another one which will add employee. Here we will pass the same parameter. Both will return an array, so we get whether it is get updated or not, or added or not. Now let's create a function. Within it we will pass all method ID, name, designation, company, and within this function we will filter out, check whether the ID is present or not, and based on ID we will update the data. If emp ID equal to ID, if data is present, then we will update the name, designation, and company. So at last we need to return a employee dataset. So when this data get updated, we'll come to know whether the whatever data we passed is updated or not. Same we will do for addition. Add employee. For this we don't need to do filter, just we need to push the data within. ID equal to ID employee name will be name, designations will be designation, and company will be company. Now just use this function, root this function, update employee list with update employee function, add employee with add employee functions. Let's see whether it is working or not. I just need to close this to restart a server. Okay, it's working. Let's check whether both function is working or not. Let's refresh this, and now check whether it is working or not. Now for the react invitation, update employee will pass ID as integer, the name as string, designation as string, then company as string. And we know that we have already method within, just we need to pass ID, name, designation, company, and it will return ID, name, designation, and company. To check whether it is working or not, just pass parameter ID. Or what we need to filter out, update, let's do it to name will be same, Michael Lucas, let's change the company IBM, designation software engineer. Let's run this query. Let's see, here in result you can see that ID2, designation, and company get changed. Let's copy this query and save it somewhere so we can use further in iOS applications. Let's test whether addition is working or not. I will do just simple changes over here, add employee, and add employee. Okay, now let's change a little bit here, like 4 Suresh Pal, Facebook, team leader. Now let's run it and check whether okay, you can see the extra data get added in a given data set. So add employee is also working. So copy this and paste it our in file where we going to use further in iOS application. To check whether updation and addition worked or not. Let's find out whether emp list. Just don't need to copy this and paste. You can see that whatever action we did before, like updation and additions, all get reflected within the given data sets. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, please like it, and if you want to subscribe it please, for further updations. In next video I will going to show how to implement this method in iOS applications using Apollo client. Thank you for watching this.